Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I'm Daniel.
I'm Chris.
We're two lonely nerds trying to find our way in the universe, and we have comic books, and now it's Star Wars story time.
Yay!
I don't know what the theme song is yet. I haven't written one. I was gonna I was gonna do some improvisation of like boom, 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 but that wasn't gonna work. Yeah.
Just let it go.
So this one, okay. So you know how there's a Darth Vader series?
Yes.
Surprise! There's another Darth Vader series.
Well, that's kind of what happens with comics. They a writer quits.
They kill Darth Vader and then they make another series. Yeah, just like Spider-Man.
They kill Darth Vader and then they resurrect Darth Vader for the next series.
Yeah, or the Palpatine, and they make a whole fucking movie about it. Yeah. So the last one was written by Charles Soule, the guy that's been doing all the Age of comics, and he's doing that like fucking kick-ass Rise of Kylo Ren thing. This is
now on the main Star Wars comic line.
Oh, Path of Destiny, or the ones we've been reading.
That's the story arc.
Yeah.
But I think the comic's just called Star Wars.
Yeah. Before we get into this, so we got to thank our buddy over at Star Wars Comic Story. You're gonna be seeing some work that he did that we did not do, and we really appreciate that he's so cool about it and lets us just take the shit that he worked really hard on and not work hard on it at all. Just put it into our video. We're going to paint the picture here. I want you to put, because you have an expansive knowledge of the Star Wars universe, I want you to put yourself in that one point in time. It's Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker on Bespin. Vader just cut his hand off. He just tells him, "I'm your father." This is where the comic begins. Okay. So we're retelling the story again.
From Vader's point of view.
Right. Luke, of course...
That's impossible!
Yeah, falls down the shaft. Which is really funny because the expression, even though you can't see anything on Vader's face, he's just like...
Really?
Okay.
That's what you're gonna. That's your choice here.
Yeah. And it like the comic starts off on that, like when he like looks down, he's like, "The fuck?" It's like that in comic book art. And,
I raised you to be smarter than that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he's clearly like kind of upset and a little confused because I think he was gonna be like, I have a son that's so fucking cool. We're going to kill the Emperor, which I've been waiting to do since day one.
And we're going to rule the galaxy together.
A part of Padme is still alive. We're going to go do fucking evil things.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
He pitches the question to Luke, and he's like, "You're not my real dad. Fuck off." And he just like, fucks off.
I would rather die.
Yeah. So Vader has this like moment where he's like, that did not go the way I thought it would go. That really sucks. So he gets back on his Star Destroyer. They find out that the Millennium Falcon has escaped. Mas Amedda, the blue horny guy, is still somehow relevant.
Okay.
The Grand Vizier, I think.
I guess it's hard for Palpatine to find good help.
And he really loves sucking Palpatine's dick, too. Like, Mas Amedda, he's got some dick-sucking skills when it comes to Palpatine.
Gives good head, is what you're saying.
I presume. I would not know. Mas Amedda gets on the phone, and he's like, "You better get Vader on the phone to Palpatine right now. He wants to talk to him." And the officer's like, he's like looking out the window, and Vader has like grabbed his shuttle and just left. And he's like,
Vader can't talk
he's not here. Please don't kill me, first of all.
Second, would you like to leave a message?
Yeah, he's gone. We'll tell you when he gets back. So
he's going to go kill stuff, I think.
That is what he does. So Vader decides, as like right before he gets onto the ship to like bail to avoid Palpatine, that he's going to go on a secret mission, and he requests this forensic droid named Z67. He's a forensic droid. He's really peppy. Like there's this really funny moment where he's like walking up to the Imperial shuttle, and like Death Troopers are like, doing where they stand there all menacingly, and he's like, "Oh my god, Death Troopers, this is so fucking cool." Like, I bet there's going to be so much stuff to analyze, and the Death Troopers are just like, "The fuck is this?"
There's going to be so much blood spray everywhere.
Right, except
great.
It's the Death Troopers, so like, and then he's like, "Carry on, good for you," and then gets on the ship. They get on their way, and so Zed finds Vader. He's like wandering around the shuttle, and he finds Vader. He's like, "I was just going to find you." And Vader like stands up and immediately opens the thing on like his control panel and starts tinkering away. And the droid's like, "Whoa, what are you?"
Personal space.
Yeah,
first of all.
He's like, you're supposed to be a trained like Geek Squad thing to do this. And like Vader's like tinkering around. He's like, "Oh, you're actually really good. Keep going. I like this." And,
ooh, right there.
Yeah, and he's done, and he closes the hatch, and Zed's like, oh, you made an adjustment to my blah, 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 and did the thing.
Technobabble.
The thing trademark is like a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
And Vader's like, yeah, I did the thing so that if you ever tell anyone about this mission, you will immediately self-destruct. And Zed's like, yes.
Yes.
That sounds so cool. Like, he's so happy. And you know what?
I can analyze my own death. That's
Yeah.
so great.
Do you know how, like, most people who come in contact with Vader who try to get chummy with him, he's just like, fuck off?
Yeah, like there was that one shot about the fangirl that he ends up killing.
He just kills her, right? I think Vader likes this droid because he doesn't, like, he's not nice to him, but he's not mean to him.
So here's the thing. Vader is very passionate about killing.
Yeah.
And he's finally found a droid who is just as passionate about killing as he is.
Yeah.
It's like they're destined to be best buddies.
I think that maybe at this point in his life, Vader understands droids more than he understands people. Because he's more machine now than man, you know?
I can see that.
Yeah, so he's not cold toward him. He isn't like an asshole to him. He just kind of like, oh, yeah, I have a droid. So they get on their way. They're having a talk, and Vader's like, we need to find some information. And Zed's like, well, it would really help if I knew about what. And he's like, Luke Skywalker. And Zed's like, okay, he blew up the Death Star. And Vader's like, I know that. Next. I was there. And Zed's like, well, he literally just disappeared. We don't know where he went. Yeah. The Falcon disappeared. And Vader's like, I will find Luke later. That's my thing. I want you to find every motherfucker that hid him from me. And then George's like, yes, we're going to go kill them, aren't we?
Yes.
And Vader's like, yeah, let's go. So he gets...
Road trip.
Yeah, which, by the way, the fact that he needs a droid for this is hilarious. Because apparently Google does not exist in the Star Wars universe.
Of course not. They still use, like, cassette tapes for shit.
Right. It's really weird where he's like, yeah, we got to go to this one thing and look at this particular database. And there's clearly no shared network of information that's accessible by everyone.
I mean, can you figure out a way to make the internet reach across interstellar distances? Because I can't.
Well, I mean, if they can get a ship to fly past hyperspace.
Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll load the entire internet onto a ship. We'll send it in hyperspace to the next system over.
We'll
trade our internet for their internet. They'll bring the internet back, and then we have both internets. It's great.
I think we just described newspapers. That's more or less what that is. So Zed says the best place to start for this is the earliest mention of Luke Skywalker, which is on Tatooine. And Vader's like,
"You fucking sand
he's
again?
Like, you've got to be shitting me." So they get to Tatooine, and they pull into orbit, and they're about to go visit like an Imperial Records garrison or whatever on Tatooine.
Hold on a second. Isn't this about the time that like Lando and Chewie are showing up in the Falcon in that other?
Oh my God! Yes, it is.
It's
a little bit before that.
Maybe those TIE fighters that were coming in are like leftover from whatever.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
because it's just Vader. He's just in his ship. Yeah, with like his Death Trooper friends and fucking Zed, who's now his like droid friend. Yeah, I had overlooked that upon reading it. That is a very interesting notion.
It really makes me think.
Yeah. So they get there. A group of pilots sees this Imperial shuttle come in, and they're like, "Oh, I bet that is full of money. We're gonna rob the fuck out of it because they're pirates."
And Vader's like, "No, you're not."
Well, he didn't say. Vader doesn't know about it yet, right? So they're like, "All right, we're gonna spring a trap," and then the story continues. They land on this Imperial Records Center. So, in the Empire, like the officers are only these white squirrely men who are like ready to suck anybody's dick.
Because the Nazi analogs.
Yeah, and so like Vader lands, his Death Troopers comes out, and like this Imperial Trooper or this commander is like, "Oh my God, it's Death Troopers! What do you like? Can I help you guys?" And they do the thing, or like, and like you can't really understand what they're saying, and he's like, "Okay, so what do you want me to do?" Because I didn't understand a single fucking word that you said. And Zed's like, "We need your computer because we don't have the internet. We can't access from somewhere else. We need your exact terminal over there.
We need to press the buttons on
it. And retrieve the data that is nowhere else."
Yes.
And so they go and get on the thing, and Zed kind of searches around, and he's like really good at finding patterns and stuff. He's a forensics droid, He's, I guess, Google in robot form. So instead of the internet, like it's weird.
He has algorithms and shit.
Yeah. So they kind of look around in the terminal, and he's like, "Hey, Luke Skywalker lived in this like hut over here on the Lars homestead." And Vader's like, "You got to be shitting me!" And so they go. He's like, "Well,
like this is his brother-in-law, I think."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
brother-in-law, father-in-law, something like that.
Well, it would have been his stepfather.
Okay.
And then his stepbrother and sister-in-law would have been Owen and Beru.
Okay, there we go.
And so Zed's like, I have the coordinates. He's like, I fucking know where it is. And so they fly out there. Zed, they go into the hut, and it's how we last saw it in A New Hope. Like, it's burnt to shit, right? Like,
there's two skeletons lying out there.
Zed is like regurgitating information about like Klieg, Lars, and Shmi and stuff. And this is another thing about Vader is like, if it were anyone else, Vader would have been like force choking him. Like, I know all this shit on board.
Shut the fuck
yeah.
up.
Vader is just listening, walking around the hut, flashing back to when he was there, which would have been in Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
Having this conversation with Beru and Owen about, they're like, where are you going? He's like, to find my mother, and blah blah blah.
And he killed them all, the women and the children too.
Yeah. And so they make their way into like Luke's room, and they find a lot of his stuff, like his tools and his toys. I think they find like some of his porn and stuff. And it's really apparent that Luke was a whole bunch like Anakin when he was a kid. He like tinkering with things, got the model spaceship and everything. It's like he's clearly his father's son. And there's a particularly funny part where they find the lubrication bath that Luke like puts 3PO in the movie, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's a lubrication bath! I'm gonna take a bath." Oh, it doesn't work. That sucks. And so Vader's like, "Can you please fucking focus? No baths. We have a secret mission. Let's keep this focused." And they get in there, and he mentions, he's like, "Yeah, something weird happened. So Shmi was like a slave, and then Klieg bought her, and they married, and they were kind of happy together for a while, and then." She was kidnapped by Tuskens, and then like a while later, all the Tuskens died.
And like, yeah, I know, I was there.
Yeah, Vader's like, I am familiar with the event, and he flashes back to that conversation with Padme after he has killed them all about.
I hate
it's
sand,
like that's super
and rough and gets
no, that's earlier in the movie. This is the other awkward dialogue that Lucas wrote, when he's like, the Jedi shouldn't feel these things, and and while he's thinking about that, he suddenly is taken back to his fight with Luke when Luke jumps off, and he remembers Luke jumping off, and then he sees his mother jumping off, and then he sees a pregnant Padme jumping off, and he's like, oh my God.
It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I gotta admit, the thing that I love, and the first time we kind of see this is in a book called Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith. It's up here somewhere. Yeah. It's not canon anymore, womp womp, but it's a story from his point of view, and it kind of talks about how utterly miserable he is.
Yeah.
The suit itches. His wife is dead. His kid is dead. He didn't know he had twins. And the Emperor is a dick, and he knows the Emperor lied to him. And so he's just like, think about the most miserable you've ever been, and multiply that by like 100, and that's Darth Vader, right?
That's
and they
like
do
every moment of every day.
Right. And they do a really good job in this comic book of showing him in that state where he's like he's clearly suffering from intense PTSD. And everything in his, like, he's lost just everything, right? And he's like, it's at the point of his life now where he's not trying to block this stuff out anymore. He welcomes it, and it hurts, and that's what he latches onto. Like, he latches onto this like unbridled rage and anger. And they go outside, and they find the graves of Klieg and Shmi Skywalker, which had been buried over, like the headstones had been buried over to hide them from anyone who would come along. And Vader like uses the Force to move the sand, and they find the forensic droid is like, hey, I think there are there are graves down here, and
Vader's like, no shit, Sherlock.
yeah, and he moves the sand, and he's like, oh, this is a great idea. You can desecrate their graves. That's a good way to make someone, because the whole thing, like, Zed's like, we got to make someone pay, because he's totally signed on to Vader's mission. He's like, yes, and he's like, wait, I don't think Owen and Beru were buried here, so we don't have anyone to punish. I'm sorry. And Vader's like, dude, I just wanted to see the headstone. So, down. So right about now, like, this fucking Imperial commander from earlier is like rushing toward them on a ship. Yeah. Like one of those like transport things. And he's like trying to scream at Vader. He's like, we got a transmission from, and then it's immediately blown up. And it's the pirates, because they're like, this is our chance. We're going to go rob this ship. Yeah. And so they're all dead.
Fuck, I have something to kill now.
Yeah, so they're all dead. And these ships are coming toward them, and Zed's like, we can punish them. And Vader's like, good idea. And he, of course, kills them all. He crashes all the ships with the Force. He cuts everyone down. Like, it's everything you'd expect Darth Vader to do. Of course. The outcome is not even a surprise, right? And like, Zed's over in the corner, like, jerking off the whole time, like he's really excited about it. So he kills everyone, and there's this like really, really awesome hero shot of like Zed and Vader doing the pimp walk from the explosion.
Because cool guys don't look at explosions.
Yeah, because like the Death Troopers like see explosions like over here or whatever, and so they run over
holy
there.
Shit, we
got to kill everyone. Yeah, and like by the time they get over there, like Vader and Zed are just like throwing their sunglasses and like right, exactly. So Vader's like, I got an idea of where we should go next, and Zed's like, oh my god, yes, next part of the adventure. And they go to Coruscant to Padme's apartment. When she was a senator, which has now been sealed as like a monument or something. Okay. And Vader just breaks through it, and they're just walking around this apartment he used to live in, or used to fuck in, because he lived in the Jedi Temple. Yeah. And he's like walking around, kind of doing a similar thing where he's just kind of remembering his time there. And he tells the droid, he's like, someone that was close to her stole that baby, and I want to know who. There's got to be something here. And Zed's like, well, all the security footage, all like the surveillance footage right after her death is deleted, so someone was here and someone was hiding their tracks, so there's got to be something here. He's talking to Vader while he's like flashing back, and he's like, yeah, this, I gotta admit, my friend Vader, this is all very strange. Like, Padme was pregnant, but no one really knew who the father was. But she had this really good friend that was a Jedi. His name was Anakin Skywalker. I don't know if you heard of him, but he's a pretty big deal. And it appears that they were more than just friends, because I bet he's the father. And Vader's like,
you don't say.
Yeah, because he doesn't reveal himself or anything. And so they have a look around. Zed finds this scout transmitter thing that's like transmitting. Okay. It's like this tiny little thing. Yeah. And Zed's like, it's still transmitting. I'm gonna fucking hack it. And like, he's got a thing in his finger. He's like, and he like hacks it, and it leads them to a bunker on a planet called Zendax. Yeah, all right, I think I wrote that down incorrectly. Zendax. And there's a bunker on this planet. And the last part of this comic is this fucking Gungan in this planet, or in this bunker with a blaster, who's like, I think someone's coming. And the door rips open, and all the wildlife from around the, it's like running through, and Vader just cuts them all down. And they, like, Vader and Zed are kind of looking around, and they both stop, and Zed like turns around, and he's like, by the maker, like that, like the Star Wars equivalent of, oh my fucking god. And Vader like turns around, and it's fucking Padme. And it's not a hallucination, because fucking Zed can see it too.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the comic ends.
That's quite the reveal.
I cannot, because she's holding a gun and everything. I cannot possibly understand, like,
because like they had a funeral for her and everything.
No, I mean, Padme's dead. Yeah. Right. They're like, I swear to fucking God, they're not bringing Padme back.
Well, as you know, no one's ever really gone.
Right. But it's like, it was a huge surprise to me, because my first, like, when I first read it, I was like, well, okay, so he's going to start seeing Padme, and she's going to be talking to him. It's going to be like a mind thing.
And surprise, surprise, he's seeing Padme.
Yeah, but the droid can see her too.
Yeah.
So unless they've become such great pals that he like sees what Vader sees now, it like whoever that is looks just like Padme, and Vader thinks that she's Padme. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook. We play video games. We share memes. Today I shared a recording of Urbana Pops doing Resistance March.
Yep.
Because like I conducted it and you were in the orchestra, which is really cool. It's just another like neat connection we have to Star Wars. So yeah, go check us out on Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram too. We have a podcast on SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, where we have like longer, extended conversations and, you know, us just laughing, just like 30 minutes of us laughing straight about something like some weird reference we made, and then we forget what we're laughing about. And
also dick jokes.
Yeah, lots of dick jokes. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are awesome, and we will see you on the next video.